All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I am Naresh Mago and with me is Saira Mushtaba. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to release cheetahs in Kuno National Park in Madhya Pradesh this morning. Prime Minister to also launch National Logistics Policy in New Delhi today. Prime Minister Modi holds bilateral meetings with presidents of Russia, Uzbekistan, Iran and Turkey on the sidelines of the SCO summit in Samarkand. Varanasi nominated as first ever SCO Tourism and Cultural Capital. Union Home Minister Amit Shah to kickstart year-long celebrations of liberation of Hyderabad in Telangana, Karnataka and Maharashtra today. BJP to celebrate Prime Minister Modi's birthday today by organizing Seva Pakhwada across the country. E-auction of gifts presented to Prime Minister Modi to begin today. Delhi Anti-Corruption Branch arrests Aam Aadmi Party MLA Amanatullah Khan in connection with Delhi Waqf Board corruption case. Indian Coast Guard rescues 19 people from Gabon-flagged sinking vessel off Ratnagiri coast. And India's Pranav Anand and AR Ilamparthi win titles at World Youth Chess Championship in Romania. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will give a historic gift to Madhya Pradesh and the country today after a long gap of 70 years. The Prime Minister will release the 8 cheetahs brought from Namibia at the Kuno National Park in Madhya Pradesh. This is the world's first transcontinental project to restore large wild animals. Mr. Modi will also address a conference of around 1 lakh women of self-help groups. More from our correspondent.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will launch this ambitious project of relocation of cheetahs in the Kuno National Park at around 10:30 am. The Prime Minister will release the cheetahs in 2 enclosures. 2 male cheetahs will be released in the first enclosure. A female cheetah will be released into the second enclosure. Shri Modi will plant saplings at Karahal in Shiopur district under Green Madhya Pradesh campaign at 11:40 am. The Prime Minister will address a conference of women self-help groups in Karahal itself at 12 pm. Shri Modi will also virtually inaugurate special backward tribal group skill development training centers at Shivpuri, Mandla, Shahdol and Tamia. The remarkable thing to mention is that in the survey of possible areas conducted by Wildlife Institute of India for cheetah reintroduction program in India, out of 10 selected places in the country, Kuno National Park in Madhya Pradesh has been found most suitable. The area spread over 750 square kilometers of Kuno National Park is suitable for the habitat of about 2 dozen cheetahs. Apart from this, around 3000 square kilometer forest area is available for free movement of cheetahs in 2 districts, Shiopur and Shivpuri. As far as self-help groups are concerned, there are 3,86,000 self-help groups working in the MP State Rural Livelihood Mission. More than 43 lakh families are associated with these groups who are realizing the dream of self-reliant India. Sanjeev Sharma, AIR News, Shiopur, MP.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will launch the National Logistics Policy NLP in New Delhi today. The need for a national logistics policy was felt since the logistics cost in India is high as compared to other developed economies. It is imperative to reduce the logistics cost in India for improving the competitiveness of Indian goods both in domestic as well as export markets. Reduced logistics cost improves efficiency, cutting across various sectors of the economy, encouraging value addition and enterprise. More from our correspondent.
Since 2014, the government has put significant emphasis on improving both ease of doing business and ease of living. National Logistics Policy, a comprehensive effort to address issues of high cost and inefficiency by laying down an overarching interdisciplinary, cross-sectoral and multi-jurisdictional framework for the development of the entire logistics ecosystem is yet another step in this direction. The policy is an endeavor to improve competitiveness of Indian goods, enhancing economic growth and increasing employment opportunities. It has been the vision of the Prime Minister to develop world-class modern infrastructure through integration of all stakeholders in holistic planning and implementation so that efficiency and synergy is achieved in the execution of the project. The PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan for Multimodal Connectivity launched by the Prime Minister last year was a pioneering step in this direction. PM Gati Shakti will get further boost and complementarity with the launch of National Logistics Policy. Anupam Mishra, AR News, Delhi.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi met leaders of Russia, Uzbekistan, Iran and Turkey on the sidelines of the 22nd meeting of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization in Uzbekistan's city of Samarkand. Discussions were held to deepen bilateral cooperation in various sectors. During the meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin, Prime Minister Modi raised the issues of food, fuel and fertilizer crisis, saying that concrete solutions must be found to tackle these challenges. He thanked Russia and Ukraine for assisting in the safe evacuation of Indian students during the Russia-Ukraine conflict.
फिर एक बार हम मिल रहे हैं और आज भी दुनिया के सामने जो सबसे बड़ी चिंता है और खास करके डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज को फूड सिक्योरिटी के, फ्यूल सिक्योरिटी की, फर्टिलाइजर की, ऐसी जो समस्याएं हैं हमें जरूर उनके रास्ते निकालने होंगे और आपने भी उसमें पहल करनी होगी। उन विषयों पर चर्चा करने का मौका मिलेगा। एक्सेलेंसी, मैं आपका और यूक्रेन दोनों का इस बात के लिए आभार व्यक्त करना भी चाहूंगा क्योंकि जब शुरू के दिनों में इस संकट के काल में हमारे हजारों स्टूडेंट्स यूक्रेन में फंसे हुए थे, आपकी और यूक्रेन की मदद से हमारे स्टूडेंट को हम सुरक्षित रूप से बाहर निकाल पाए, उनके घर तक हम पहुंचा पाए और इसके लिए मैं आप दोनों देशों का आभारी हूं।
In the ongoing conflict, Mr. Modi underlined the importance of democracy, diplomacy and dialogue.
आज का युग युद्ध का है नहीं और हमने फोन पर भी कई बार आपसे इस विषय में बात की है कि डेमोक्रेसी और डिप्लोमेसी और डायलॉग, ये सारी बातें ऐसी हैं कि जो दुनिया को एक स्पर्श करती हैं। आने वाले दिनों में शांति के रास्ते पर हम कैसे बढ़ सके उसके विषय में जरूर हमें चर्चा करने का मौका मिलेगा। आपका व्यू पॉइंट समझने का मुझे भी एक अवसर मिलेगा। लेकिन फिर भी जो विषय हैं जिसकी बातें मैं करता रहता हूं, एक्सेलेंसी, भारत और रशिया के संबंध अनेक गुना बढ़े हैं। हम इन संबंधों को इसलिए भी महत्व देते हैं कि हम एक ऐसे मित्र रहे हैं जो पिछले कई दशकों से हर पल एक दूसरे के साथ रहे हैं और पूरी दुनिया भी जानती है कि भारत के साथ रशिया का नाता कैसा रहा है और रशिया के साथ भारत का नाता कैसा रहा है।
On the India-Russia relations, the Prime Minister said both the countries are decade-long partners.
एक प्रकार से हम दोनों की यात्रा समान शुरू हुई। मैं सबसे पहले आपको 2001 में मिला जब आप हेड ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट के रूप में जाए और मैं हेड ऑफ द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के रूप में काम शुरू किया। आज 22 साल हो गए। हम लगातार हमारी दोस्ती बढ़ती चली जा रही है। लगातार हम दोनों देश मिलकर के इस रीजन की भलाई के लिए, लोगों की भलाई के लिए काम कर रहे हैं। जेएससीओ समिट में भी आपने भारत के लिए जो कुछ भी भावनाएं व्यक्त की है, मैं इसके लिए आपका बहुत आभारी हूं। एक्सेलेंसी, मुझे विश्वास है कि हमारे बायोलेटरल भी, हमारी बातचीत भी आने वाले दिनों में हमारे संबंधों को भी गहरे करेंगे। विश्व की जो आशा अपेक्षाएं हैं उसको पूर्ण करने में भी बहुत काम आएगी, ऐसा मुझे भरोसा है। मैं फिर एक बार आज समय निकालने के लिए आपका बहुत बहुत आभारी हूं।
On the occasion, Russian President Vladimir Putin raised the issue of Ukraine, bilateral trade, supplies of Russian fertilizer, cooperation and agriculture cooperation, oil, gas, nuclear energy projects, and visa-free tourist exchanges. During the India-Uzbekistan bilateral meeting, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Uzbekistan President Shavkat Mirziyoyev discussed ways to deepen bilateral cooperation in diverse sectors, including economic cooperation, trade and connectivity. Later, Prime Minister Modi met Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi. During the meeting, both the leaders held talks on wide-ranging bilateral relations and reviewed the progress in the development of Chabahar port. Earlier, Prime Minister Narendra Modi held talks with Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Varanasi has been nominated as the first ever Shanghai Cooperation Organization SCO Tourism and Cultural Capital during the period 2022-23 at the 22nd meeting of SCO Council of Heads of State in Samarkand, Uzbekistan yesterday. The External Affairs Ministry said the nomination of Varanasi as the first ever SCO Tourism and Cultural Capital will promote tourism, cultural and humanitarian exchanges between India and SCO member countries.
The rotational presidency of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization was handed over to India in Samarkand, Uzbekistan yesterday. Delhi will hold the presidency of the grouping for a year until September 2023. Next year, India will host the SCO summit. The leaders of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization member states signed the Samarkand Declaration in the meeting of the Council of Heads of State in the city of Samarkand, Uzbekistan yesterday. In the declaration, it was stated that the presidency of the SCO for the forthcoming period passes to India. The next meeting of the SCO Council of Heads of State will be held in 2023 in India. The e-auction of gifts presented to Prime Minister Narendra Modi will begin today. The auction will go on till the 2nd of October. 1,222 mementos will be e-auctioned during this period. The mementos include idols of Ganesh, Swami Vivekanand, Ram Mandir Temple, Netaji statue, paintings and sports equipment, among others, gifted to the Prime Minister.
Former President Ramnath Kovind has said that the period of last 8 years of the Narendra Modi government has been remarkable and historic in many ways for the development of the country. In his article, which coincides with the birthday of Prime Minister, Mr. Kovind mentioned that the indelible imprint of Baba Saheb B.R. Ambedkar's ideals is visible everywhere in the governance model of Mr. Modi. Mr. Kovind said he considers Prime Minister Modi as a true follower of Baba Saheb because he has made nation first as his motto. The former president added that Mr. Modi adopted Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas and Sabka Prayas as the mantra of his governance and made good governance, social harmony and discipline the identity of the government.
President Draupadi Murmu has extended her best wishes to Prime Minister Narendra Modi on his birthday. In a tweet, the President said she wishes that the nation-building campaign being carried out by Prime Minister Modi with incomparable hard work, dedication and creativity continues to progress. She prayed to God for good health and long life of Mr. Modi. Home Minister Amit Shah, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla and Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Thakur have extended their best wishes to Prime Minister Modi on his birthday. BJP is going to celebrate the birthday of Prime Minister Narendra Modi by organizing Seva Pakhwada service fortnight from today till the 2nd of next month across the country. Addressing a press conference in New Delhi, party MP Arun Singh said that during the fortnight, party workers will render their services in various activities like blood donation. He said during the Pakhwada, free health tests for needy people will also be carried out across the country and differently abled persons will be given various equipment. Mr. Singh said a vaccination drive will also be conducted.
2025 तक प्रधानमंत्री जी ने आह्वान किया कि भारत को टीबी मुक्त बनाना है। कोई भी व्यक्ति ऐसा न रहे जो टीबी युक्त हो। टीबी मुक्त भारत 2025 तक बनेगा। इसीलिए जो टीबी के ग्रसित व्यक्ति है उसको गोद लेने का काम भी भारतीय जनता पार्टी के कार्यकर्ता समाज के साथ मिलकर के करेंगे। 1 वर्ष तक उन गोद मिलेंगे, गोद लेने का काम करेंगे, उनसे हालचाल पूछेंगे, उनकी कोई समस्या होगा उस समस्याओं का निदान पार्टी के कार्यकर्ता करेंगे। इस प्रकार से अनेक सेवा के कार्यक्रम पार्टी के कार्यकर्ता 17 सितंबर से लेकर के 2 अक्टूबर तक करेंगे।
In morning matters, now let us listen to a discussion on peace and development in Northeast India. The participants are Pradeep Fanjubam, political analyst, and K.V. Prasad, journalist.
In a major development concerning Northeast, several groups of Adivasi militants signed an accord with the centre and the Assam government, allowing themselves to come overground and end violence. These 8 Adivasi groups, which have over 1,000 plus cadres, all Adivasi National Liberation Army, the AANLA-FG as it is called, the Birsa Commando Force, the BT, Santal Tiger Force, Adivasi Cobra Militant of Assam, ACMA PG and Adivasi People's Army. Pradeep, this is a very significant development because since 2006, there has we had the ceasefire pact with the government. These tripartite agreement which was signed in Delhi in the presence of Home Minister. How do you see that as a bigger harbinger of peace in Assam and in the Northeast in general?
In a sense that the Adivasi groups, they were there, okay, they were marginalized to a great extent, which is why they protested and all that. But they are also not as powerful in terms of arms. So the government initiative, overture rather, that anybody who is willing to be on the path of peace will be taken on board. I think that's a very good message for everybody else. although we do have other groups which are much more powerful, much better armed, and much more dangerous, those groups will also have to be brought into the picture, into the fold. But this is a good message, it's a start, that you have to be interested in peace, and anybody's peace will be taken on board. That kind of message has been sent, and I hope that message reaches everybody, that you are interested in peace, you are ready to negotiate whatever terms that you want. If it is not really against the idea of the Constitution of India, then we will negotiate. If that is the message which has been sent out, and if that is a message which has been taken by everybody else, then I think it will be a very good beginning, in fact.
In fact, Pradeep, if you look at the bigger picture emerging from 2014, some of the statistics give us the kind of work that has been done. Reports tell us that 6,000 plus insurgents in the northeast region have surrendered to and over 9,500 were arrested. And there has been a massive reduction in violent incidents. And most importantly, something which not just Assam, but the whole of Northeast is that it says that the government says all these peace measures have allowed almost 60% reduction in areas under the Armed Forces Special Powers Act. And you will understand and appreciate that's a demand of the people of the region.
There's been a clear receding, sinking of the level of violence. That, insurgency, when we talk of insurgency, we always talk of the violence potential of any group. And that has been on a wane. But while that is good, I think we should also be careful, because insurgency is born out of a particular mindset which is shared by a lot of people. So if that mindset is not gone, you can remove the insurgency. The important thing is, of course, is the short-term kind of thing, that you end the insurgency, the actual violence. But after you ending that, then you take care of the mindset. And that can come with development, a particular kind of attitude, which actually says that we are in the same boat we're talking about. We address those human problems, then it becomes lasting. But if you just end particular conflict with the truth, that can be, it's very important to end any kind of conflict. But that conflict had a reason. If you don't address those reasons, the conflict can recur. We have to be careful about that. I'm sure the government is aware of that. Yeah.
The government said that this has enabled 60% reduction in areas under AFSA. So I think that's an important point for the region.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. The ASPA has been around for a long time. It's almost as old as India's independence. If you cannot remove it immediately, totally, then you have to begin by actually lifting it from areas which you think are safe. And that's actually what's happening at the moment.
I think the approach in this is very clear, that government, both the center and states, are balancing the requirement in terms of security and law and order and the demands of the people where peace has returned. I think that's what is indicated. And I'm sure in the days to come, we'll have more such positive news coming from the region and also the state which has just had accord. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're listening to Morning News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to release cheetahs in Kuno National Park in Madhya Pradesh this morning. Prime Minister to also launch National Logistics Policy in New Delhi today. Prime Minister Modi holds bilateral meetings with presidents of Russia, Uzbekistan, Iran and Turkey on the sidelines of SCO summit in Samarkand. Varanasi nominated as first ever SCO tourism and cultural capital. Union Home Minister Amit Shah to kickstart year-long celebrations of liberation of Hyderabad in Telangana, Karnataka and Maharashtra today. BJP to celebrate Prime Minister Modi's birthday today by organizing Seva Pakhwada across the country. E-auction of gifts presented to Prime Minister Modi to begin today. Delhi Anti-Corruption Branch arrests Aam Aadmi Party MLA Amanatullah Khan in connection with Delhi Waqf Board corruption case. Indian Coast Guard rescues 19 people from Gabon flagged sinking vessel off Ratnagiri coast. And India's Pranav Anand and A.R. Ilamparthi win titles at World Youth Chess Championship in Romania. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts.
न्यू इंडिया समाचार, नए भारत का संकल्प, सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विश्वास और सबका प्रयास। समाज में गरीब और कमजोर तबकों के लिए सरकार की चल रही कल्याणकारी योजनाओं और कार्यक्रमों से जुड़ी जानकारी पाएं। सरकार के इन कदमों के बारे में जानें और लाभ उठाएं। आकाशवाणी पर अब सुनिए जन कल्याण के सरोकार दोपहर 3 बजे से हर शनिवार। सुनिए न्यू इंडिया समाचार आकाशवाणी के साथ।
The Indian Coast Guard has successfully rescued 19 people, including 18 Indians and 1 Ethiopian, from a Gabon-flagged vessel. The vessel started to flood yesterday morning when it was around 41 miles west of Ratnagiri coast. Within minutes of receiving the distress call, ICGS Sujit and ICGS Apurva were diverted for the rescue operation. International Safety Net and NAVTEX warnings were relayed to alert other merchant vessels in the area. Union Home Minister Amit Shah will be kick-starting the year-long Hyderabad Liberation Day celebrations in 3 states of Telangana, Karnataka and Maharashtra later this morning. He will be hoisting the national flag and reviewing the parade by the paramilitary forces at the parade grounds in Secunderabad. The Union Minister will lay a wreath at the Martyrs Memorial and garland the statue of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. About 1,200 artists from the 3 states will be presenting colorful cultural programs showcasing the rich heritage of the region. People of the then Hyderabad princely state got liberated from the tyrannic rule of Nizam over a year after India attained independence on this day in 1948 through a police action called Operation Polo, initiated by the then Home Minister Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel.
Over the past 75 years since independence, India's largest public service broadcaster, All India Radio, has been the proverbial storyteller for crores of people across the country. All India Radio is celebrating 75 years of freedom with a series, Azad Bharat Ki Baat, Akashvani Ke Saath. It showcases the journey of India since independence in various walks of life through the storytelling of All India Radio. In today's episode, we will bring you the story of Silicon Revolution in India.
India has been a destination for outsourced software and support services. Since the late 1980s, it enhanced country's wealth, provided employment and fueled urbanization. From 2014, policy boost given by the central government has encouraged a startup and innovation culture. In the Global Innovation Index, India improved its ranking from 81 to 52 between 2015 and 2019. In 2019, the country ranked 3rd in the world in terms of attracting investment for technology transactions. Information technology and cyber security expert Dr. Pavan Duggal says that during the last 75 years, India has nurtured its IT sector in a distinctive manner.
In the coming time, this IT sector is going to play a central lifeline role in the life of the nation, because as more and more Indians have come onto the digital bandwagon and as new technologies will go ahead and redefine India's progress, given the fact that India has emerged as the second and now most populous nation in the world, the IT sector will effectively be leading the nation in terms of thought leadership, in terms of its contribution to excellence, and in terms of contributing toward modernization, digitization of almost all sectors of human activity. And I see India to be a role model for a large number of other countries who want to see how a nation can actually model its IT sector for its future growth and progress.
Ministry of Human Resource Development and Department of Science and Technology have agreed to partner in an initiative to set up over 75 startup support hubs in premier institutes like NITs and IITs. Several companies are setting up incubation centers in Bangalore, Chennai, Gurgaon, Hyderabad, Mumbai, Noida, Pune, Trivandrum and Vijayawada. India, which had barely any connectivity in 2014, became the second most connected nation in the world with 560 million internet users. The number of smartphone users has leaped from 86 million 5 years ago to 450 million today. This success rate has encouraged interest in digital entrepreneurship as a career path, as indicated by a recent survey of young people in India. A third of the respondents indicated interest in entrepreneurship as a career.
Azad Bharat Ki Baat, Akashvani Ke Saath can be accessed on Twitter at AIR News Alerts, News on AIR official YouTube channel, News on AIR app, Facebook and Instagram handles. So tune in to All India Radio News for Azad Bharat Ki Baat, Akashvani Ke Saath.
The Anti-Corruption Branch ACB Delhi has arrested Aam Aadmi Party MLA Amanatullah Khan in connection with Delhi Waqf Board corruption case. He has been arrested on the basis of the recovery of incriminating material and evidence against him during the searches conducted yesterday. ACB officials said that 24 lakh rupees in cash, 2 illegal arms and ammunition were recovered from 2 of his associates. The anti-corruption branch had conducted raids at various places related to Amanatullah Khan and his business partners in the Delhi Waqf Board corruption case. In World Youth Chess Championships, India's Pranav Anand and A.R. Ilamparthi won titles in the Open Under-16 and Under-14 categories respectively in Mamaia in Romania yesterday. The top-seeded Anand scored 9 points from 11 rounds to emerge the clear winner. Anand's compatriot M. Pranesh, who was the second seed, finished joint third with 8 points, along with 3 others. In the Under-14 category, A.R. Ilamparthi was half a point ahead of the rest of the field with 9.5 points from 11 rounds. Though he lost to Ukraine's Artem Berin in the 4th round, he won 9 games and drew 1 to claim the top prize. Now let us have a look at the weather across the country. National capital Delhi will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. The temperature will hover between 24 and 31 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have a generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. The upper limit of temperature is expected to be 29 degrees Celsius. Chennai will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. The minimum temperature was 27 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 34 degrees. Kolkata will have a partly cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. The maximum temperature will be around 34 degrees. Jammu will have a mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The minimum temperature was 22 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 33 degrees. Srinagar will have a partly cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. The minimum temperature was 15 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 29. Leh will have a mainly clear sky. The minimum temperature was 7 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 23 degrees. Muzaffarabad will have a mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Gilgit will have a mainly clear sky. The minimum temperature there was 13 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 31 degrees. In the south, Hyderabad will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. Bengaluru will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain. Visakhapatnam will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain. The minimum temperature was 26 and maximum will be 33 degrees. In the northeast, Gangtok will have a generally cloudy sky with a few spells of rain or thunder showers. Guwahati, Agartala, Itanagar, Aizawl, Kohima and Shillong will have generally cloudy sky, and in Agartala, temperature is moving between 25 and 33 degrees.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. The SCO summit in Uzbekistan has been covered prominently on the front pages of newspapers this morning. Not era of war, PM tells Putin, who says will try to end Ukraine conflict soonest, reports the Indian Express. PM in a swipe at Pakistan at SCO pitches for transit rights, better connectivity, writes the Asian Age. Alongside a picture of a cheetah being brought to India, Hindustan Times writes, cheetahs to set foot in India after 70 years. 8 Namibian cheetahs, India's hope, reports the Pioneer. Enforcement Directorate freezes 46.67 crore rupees in payment gateway accounts, says the Economic Times. Adani pits Tata as India's most valued conglomerate, reports Business Standard. Enforcement Directorate raids 40 spots across country in Delhi liquor scam, says the Pioneer. On the CUET UG results, Hindustan Times writes, 12 get 100 percentile in 5 subjects, 104 in 4. And finally, the Hindu Business Line under the headline, Need profits? Get women on board, says Finance Minister to corporates. Writes that Nirmala Sitharaman has come down heavily on firms evading the mandate on women directors.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to release cheetahs in Kuno National Park in Madhya Pradesh this morning. Prime Minister to also launch National Logistics Policy in New Delhi today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi holds bilateral meetings with presidents of Russia, Uzbekistan, Iran and Turkey on the sidelines of the SCO summit in Samarkand. Varanasi nominated as the first ever SCO tourism and cultural capital. Union Home Minister Amit Shah to kickstart year-long celebrations of liberation of Hyderabad in Telangana, Karnataka and Maharashtra today. Bharatiya Janata Party to celebrate Prime Minister Narendra Modi's birthday today by organizing Seva Pakhwada across the country. e-auction of gifts presented to Prime Minister Narendra Modi to begin today. Delhi Anti-Corruption Branch arrests Aam Aadmi Party MLA Amanatullah Khan in connection with Delhi Waqf Board corruption case. Indian Coast Guard rescues 19 people from Gabon-flagged sinking vessel off the Ratnagiri coast. And India's Pranav Anand and A.R. Elamparthi win titles at World Youth Chess Championship in Romania. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website newsonair.gov.in and News on AIR app. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.